Peace and respect to you all. Welcome to Demolished Doctrine, the beginning of the end of religions, plural, all of them. Our return guest for a second time around, William Freeman, the evil raccoon. William, tell a little bit about yourself for anyone who may not know you very well.
Well, I represent a group of very small creatures. We like to be called dumpster monkeys. We're more interested in your refuge than harming you. Please don't run us over. No, I don't know what to say, man. If you're watching, I'm a jerk, and Richard is a saint to even talk to me. So let's move on.
All right, so moving on. I think, correct me where I'm wrong if I become wrong. And always, and at any point, any one of you. And I do accept correction. Ask Harple Blues that you are a non-traditional student of some, at least, spiritual stories. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Non-traditional. That's a good way to put it. I kind of push further and further away from tradition. It seems like every day. I'm not religious. I do think I'm spiritual. I do put a lot of weight on the Bible, but not in the way that a lot of people do, and in a different way than you do. Also, I put a lot of weight in the other mythologies from around the world. And so I'm not sure. I don't have any answers, and that's the biggest thing that I've. Oh, thanks, Knock. I miss you too, man. So, God dang. So yeah, but anyway, I don't. Non-traditional is a good way to say it. I don't know what I don't know what is real. I know pretty much what I believe, but I have no knowledge claims to make about anything.
I don't think we should have knowledge claims. Now, I speak with great confidence in the things that I'm saying, and here's why. I am thoroughly convinced these things are true. Does that make them true that I'm thoroughly convinced they're true? Well, no, that doesn't make things true. It makes them true to me. Okay? So everything that I say should be taken in that mind frame that it is tentative. And what I mean by that, I'm not bringing anyone in yet. I know I put the link in the chat. That was in case William was having trouble locating the link I'd already given him. And YM, if indeed that is YM, please feel free to hang out backstage. You are welcome to hang out backstage. I don't know how long you'll be there, perhaps an hour. Peace and respect also, Wild Heart 5. Pixie Storms, KCA Randy, Raging Atheist, welcome as well. Spooky Bet here. So I think that what should be is that I hold a truth like a piece of paper in my hand. And there's something written on that paper that I believe and I hold as true. However, should I run across another piece of paper which has a better statement than the one I hold, I should drop the one I have and copy or pick up the one that I see that is better. So, and I think that's what all of us should do, and that is what I'm trying to do. And I have some proof that I am open-minded in that way, as I was in 2012 early. I was an anti-theist, making a positive claim there can be no gods. And then I accepted correction that there can be, and there is a reasonable, logical way to look at these things that involve no magical thinking. Go ahead.
Why must you discard one piece of paper to pick up the other?
I mean, if they're a true dichotomy.
Oh yeah,
if one defeats the other. Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like all of these documents were written by, I think, in most cases, by men in earnest. Like they believed what they were writing. I mean, I'm sure there's some shady stuff in a lot of places, but overall, these men were writing what they perceived, from their perspective, what they saw, and they couldn't have been aware of more than what was around them. You know, like when the flood, that everything was destroyed. Well,
Hmm.
how would anyone gain that perspective from being on the planet? Like, how would you know?
You wouldn't.
So, but it doesn't mean there wasn't a big damn flood. You know what I mean? It's just that I don't know that it covered up everything, and so that's why we have flood stories from all over the world. You know, it doesn't mean that everything was covered. Obviously, people lived through it and continued to breed all over the
Yes.
place. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
And
I'm
and
still
the
waking up.
Valley of the Eight People and the haplogroups, um, it is not confirmation of the story of Noah's flood. And that's a good place to start this conversation as anywhere, I suppose, unless you had something you specifically wanted to tackle. But here is one way that I think that a Christian is normally, not yourself necessarily, ignoring parts of the text of the Bible when they make the claim that there was a worldwide flood of H2O. Um, there are literal definitions and then there are colloquial definitions. There's only one colloquial definition or usage definition that's been given in the text of the Bible at all concerning a large amount of waters. And that would be, of course, as you know, in the book of Revelation, where it says these waters that you have seen are,
Peoples, nations,
meaning
tongues.
not
Okay,
similar to, not akin to, not alikened. Go ahead.
right. I get what you're saying, but then what does that say about the other mythologies around the globe that all talk about a almost cataclysmic flood?
Well, yes, there is a cataclysmic flood. We're experiencing it right now. We are that flood.
No,
So,
wait, no, wait. I'm not talking about the Bible. Okay,
no, it doesn't matter which text you're talking about.
okay, it doesn't matter what. All right, continue.
For instance, Gilgamesh is a fine example that people often cite. Looking for a plant that will give eternal life, he traverses an impassable ocean through help by a benevolent being and finds eternal life, although he soon loses it. Um, that's continuing on with the story in a different way, and that's the transition point of that story. So I don't think necessarily there are differences between those two stories. Of course, there have been floods local all over the planet. And actually, there is good evidence geologically that there was rapid, catastrophic water movement twice in the history of this planet.
So what makes the
But it would have
Bible
been so long ago there was no Homo sapien sapien here.
what
But
makes the Bible more special than the other accounts?
it doesn't. They're
All right,
exactly the
but
same
I don't
in
think you
my
could.
mind.
I don't think that you could arrive at your current uh, ideas using just using excluding the Bible. I don't think that you could come to the ideas that you hold now. If you took the Bible out and just looked at all the other material, I don't think that you could get where you are now with your theory.
Well, first, I would say that because I'm an American, it was very likely I was going to see and hear about the Bible. Okay. But were I born, say, in, I don't know, India, right? And say I was Hindu, would I draw the same conclusion from the Hindi equivalent story of the god of the sea running the ocean over top of the landmass, and how people perish in that, and everyone is very disturbed and scared, and then the god of the wind saves them? Yeah, I think I would have actually come to the same conclusion.
You would have got that from the Norse mythologies as well.
I believe all of them. Of course, I don't know every story in every religion. There's just too damn many of them. But the ones I have reviewed work in this way.
Okay, but in those mythologies, it's different from the case you make for the Bible, because with the Bible, there's almost a science that you break down with the names, the numbers and all that, that seems to, in your understanding, verify that it is to be trusted because of
Yes.
of its uniqueness, and you don't find that in the other texts.
I
Not
do
to
find it
that
in the other
degree.
texts.
That reassurance.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, okay, I'm sorry. I don't normally hear you talk much outside of the
That's because
Bible.
I don't talk much to Hindu folk or Islamic folk or anything. I don't.
Okay, that's fair.
Although I've had a lot of private conversations with singular individuals, like for instance, Native American Zunis are not famous for getting online on computers and having discussions on YouTube. They just don't do that.
So that stereotype about them just fits. That just works.
But yes, it's true. It's just not something they're into. Peace and respect, Big Thing Flying Wayne. That
Could
may
you say
be the
that
first
again
time
for
I
me?
saw you shut up. Big Thing Flying Wayne.
That is awesome. I'm going to change my name right now.
It's already taken. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I don't have to be Wayne. All right.
Yeah, it could be Flying
Jim.
William.
Yeah, Flying Willie.
He's someone I've seen on, and I would quickly shill Pocket Locker 86, which is a science and atheistic based channel talking mostly about biology, I think, from my experience. Check him out. He's brilliant.
You actually sent me a link.
He got to work with may presently be in, I'm confused on that point, the Richard Lenski lab, which is the long-term experiment going on, some now I think approaching or has passed. Peace and respect, Maynard saves. 30 years, also Mac the Human. In Escherichia coliform, forced evolutionary adaptation by environmental pressures. So Darwinistic evolution, which I think they've shown to be true, by the way, in that example. All right. Where the heck were we before I went on that tangent about Locker?
If you wanted to continue on talking about we were talking about the Bible and whether it was different from the other texts or whether it was
That's
just
correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't think the Bible is special in any way.
Okay, cool.
Except that, peace and respect, Randolph Richardson. I happened to run across a typically non-biblical story, which I found facts of reality in before those facts could be known by the writer in that part of the world, with limited technology for travel that they had. There's no way for Enoch to have known there are 14 non-deciduous trees on the planet. He simply could not have known that. In fact, there was no people on the planet anywhere that had surveyed the planet. There wasn't any. 3,500 to 4,000 BC. Yeah, and a truth.
I'm not arguing the truth. I'm just saying from a man's perspective, like you just said, it would be impossible for him to have that knowledge that he gained naturally.
Right, but it is true, and that shows that communication happened from outside of his possible experience range. He just couldn't have experienced that. And he wrote it down, taking their word for it, which is what he claims. He says, they claim this, I don't claim this. And that these beings were from off-world, and they knew all the stuff there was to know about this planet. They just knew it.
Now, I have a question for you. The anointed one, the Messiah, has to. He's the one that the text is written for in the Bible. Is
That's
that
the only
true?
thing that makes sense to me.
Is that true? Because there were things that Jesus had to do, or the Messiah had to accomplish, right?
Or will have to. Yeah.
Now, can those things be gleaned from the other mythologies? If
yes.
The Messiah was to, so those principles and those acts can be pulled directly out of any of those texts.
Yes, which is why we observe there is the quote unquote story of the hero, and that is an archetype throughout cultures. It's because they're talking about the hero, like that dude, and him doing what he needs to do for those people. You could go through a long laundry list of stories of the hero. What's that?
That's vague, though. The heroes have done.
It's
lots
not very
of,
vague.
So
Let me give you an example of how vague it's not.
Okay, Hercules slaying the Hydra. Does this relate to Jesus?
Yes, it's in the story of the book of Revelation, where he defeats the beast of Satan, which is represented by a 7-headed Hydra.
Okay, all right.
And he beats him with a sword that is the truth. And it says that a few different times, by the power of his testimony is how he beats him. He doesn't murder him literally. So yeah, again, the beast of Satan, or the Hydra, eats the sword that is consumes and can pretend to have the truth in his mouth and his stomach. And then he kills. Effectively, all the people are convinced that the hero is dead when the Hydra eats him. But being that he eats him, he can grab a hold of his sword and cut his way out. And that's how he defeats him, from the inside out with the sword, which is truth. So is that very colloquially expressed?
I hate when you win. I want to cut your beard every time you
can just like pick any story. It's always there. It doesn't matter what religion we choose, really, to me. I mean,
how does that play out with the afterlife, as far as what can be learned from all the mythologies about what to expect on the other side of death, if there's anything?
Well, on the other side of the death is physical reincarnation. That is to say, just like the sheep dolly, we can recreate a physical animal. You need a viable ovum, and you need the genetic code that you can put in the viable ovum. Other than that, not a real big problem, especially when you have natural wombs to develop the baby in, and you get multiple tries. You're going to get it. We can almost do that now, or we do that now, I think.
So death is a reincarnation.
Well, death is an end of this physical body, but this physical body can be replicated. So,
in what sphere or what realm, what existence is what I'm saying? Is it back here? Is it another go on this soil?
As far as I can tell, we never live on another Earth after we leave this one. And the hero never leaves the abode of his God, the Father. So he's like too valuable and kept out of direct participation in any set of end times. Peace and respect, Wild Heart. You're going to be backstage a while. I hope you're ready for that, because whatever William, his brain goes, that's what we're going to do for however long he wants. And I don't know how long that is. But I do intend to invite him and invite you guys to open the room if he wants to do that, and he still has time and energy for it at some later point.
I'm just here to hang out and talk to you or whoever. It doesn't matter. I cleared my schedule for about an hour and a half to chill with you.
Oh, that's not near enough time to start a conversation. Okay,
man.
So all right. So unlike Christians who read parts of the Bible, I read the whole thing. There is a description of the coloration, the physical count, a hard measurement, and a conversion factor, and decorations, and a shape for the parts of heaven, the 3 levels of heaven. Now, ethereal planes don't have an outside, which should go without saying. The Christians say that heaven is an ethereal plane, but then the Bible describes, and other religions as well, describe the outside of it and the count of it and things like that. So real things have shapes. Physical things have shapes. There's no platonic ethereal 3-dimensional. I don't even know what the hell they're talking about at that point.
I guess in my mind, I was somewhere between, we have a physical continuing existence where we have pursuits and things like that, or that we were just, our energy was reabsorbed into the Father, the Force. So that's what I've been teetering back and forth on, whether I'm just a cell in his existence.
Okay, emotionally, mentally, and I think Kirk Harrop, peace and respect to you. This is one of the things that Joseph Smith got right, which convinces me he did pray at times, although he made up a bunch of crap too. I think he did pray. That there is a physical heaven. All right. Now, are you enjoined to agree with the seven spirits of God in order to enter and stay in heaven? Well, of course. It's like saying, oh, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I'm going to do everything I can to fight against the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. Well, I'm sorry, they're going to kick you out. So are you part of God in that sense, an emotional, mental, spiritual way? Well, yes, of course you are. Are you enjoined into the collective that is God? Well, yes, you are, and voluntarily so. But it's just agreeing with the set of standards, the seven spirits of God, and all the extreme, almost infinite implications of that. So both?
I don't know. I'm still pondering.
Okay. Would you be you, and would you be greater, or even either one of those, without flesh?
Again, I wouldn't even know how to relate to the concept.
Right.
Because it's such a foreign idea.
How about without mind?
I couldn't relate to anything without mind.
Right. Okay. So if your mind is dependent on brain, that seems evidently true. Then you can't have mind without physicality. That seems evidently true. We have zero examples without begging the question, well, God.
Well, no, I think that the mind exists apart from the brain. It just uses the brain as like a conductor, you know, to
you mean
to
like
make
an interface between it and physicality?
Right, with matter, with the vessel.
That's fine, but I still know of zero examples without begging the question of an unembodied mind.
Yeah, I wasn't arguing that. I just wanted to make sure that you
Right.
understood what I was seeing when we were talking about this.
Do I?
Hell, I don't know.
Do I seem to?
I'm gonna drink some Coca-Cola while you give me a question I can understand.
Right.
Make it easy, Ricky.
Okay, so without begging the question, saying, well, God is an unembodied mind, which thing I can't understand. I don't understand how that could be possible. Every consciousness I've ever heard of or experienced,
perspective,
in that we can show does exist, has is a result called an emergent property of brain.
Yes, but you're coming from your perspective. You're limited by your
not just my perspective.
Well, who else's perspective?
All of science.
Yeah, men.
Human beings on the planet.
Right. So we may not be able to conceptualize the idea of a mind that doesn't have a physicality to work through, a brain, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just beyond our perception or our perspective. You know, maybe there's more, maybe there's less to it. I don't know.
Well, it's going to be impossible for us to understand that. Just like because of our laws of physics, we can't test for other universes. Which would have to, by necessity, to be a different universe, have different laws of physics, which means we can't test for it. So it's one of those conundrums. You could say theoretically that it's possible. You could say logically it's plausible. Do we have any evidence at all to that extent? No. Well, I'm not accepting things on plausibility.
That's cool. I'm just keeping my mind as open as I can about what the possibilities are.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can respect that. Okay. So here's what I can show. Of minds I do experience, they are subject to a brain. And a brain needs support from a body. Now, what I see the text claiming is that God is a set of immaterial constructs, and that angels, and I say that inclusively, all kinds of angels, including the Father, the Christ, etc., are participants within these seven spirits. That is to say, they agree, they comply, they think they are objectively the best possible set. So in that way, in participation, they are the quote unquote hand of God. That which pontificates or is a bridge between the ideals and applying those ideals to reality. Just like if you're an animal rights activist, you think that that's a good thing to do, so you go around like rescuing dogs. Well, animal rights activism is a set of ideals, but then there's an actual dog somewhere that it applies to, and you go and you purposely, physically rescue the dog because of your ideals. So in that case, you are the God animal activism.
I don't know what you just said, Richard. I'm going to be honest. There was a moment where your screen froze, and I don't know what you said in the meantime, and then it's not your fault. Then I tried to pick it up, and I lost you.
Let me paraphrase it so the listening audience doesn't get too bored. When you act upon a set of ideals, you are those ideals in effective reality.
Okay. You embody the ideals.
Right. And in that way, you are that God. Right.
No, that's
in
the
that
part
way,
I don't understand.
You are that God in that moment.
I don't know. I don't know. You resemble that God in that moment. See, that's what I don't understand. You when you talk about them as just not abstract principles, but the seven spirits. Okay,
they are abstract. Yeah.
Okay, but so that's not, to me. That's not. I don't become those things just because I can imitate them. Like
how else are they real other than someone imitating them?
Because it's not always genuine. I am trying to imitate those things. It's not natural for me to imitate all those things, all the good principles and parts of God. I have to work at that. So it's like I'm copying an ideal. I'm copying those principles.
Okay. Would an angel or the Father be able to perfectly employ?
Yeah, if those are his characteristics, he'd have no choice but to. I mean, that is him. That he is
right.
He is those principles.
Okay, now if you were in that position and you perfectly did it, what would be wrong with me saying you are that?
Nothing if I perfectly did it.
If you are we promised we perfectly do it here?
No.
Is it promised that those in heaven perfectly do it?
Clearly not.
Really? Other than Lucifer.
Okay, there it is.
That's the one exception. I'll grant you the exception.
You mentioned Enoch. There were more than just one fallen.
Him and his crew. He caused the others to fall. So really, it's just on Lucifer.
I'm not even sure that that's true either. I don't know that.
Well, that's what the story claims.
Okay.
It says, and each of them chose.
Yeah, but Azazel is the one that put forth, or is it Semyaza? One of them put forth the idea.
Those are just two different. Those are just two different languages saying the same word.
Well, there's nowhere to go with that. Continue on.
That to say Lucifer is to say Semyaza is to say Azazel.
I don't mind skipping over all the minutia if that serves the point. But we could sit here and break down the different ideas about what these fallen angels are and who they were.
But isn't it true that the exception makes the rule?
Okay, explain.
There's no
point about as far as the fallen one, those that are in heaven. That do they make the rule? No,
the exception is what makes the rule. That is to say, I don't know how to say that very well. I think it's evidently and intuitively true, but I don't know how to say it very well. Let me attempt. Internal combustion engines use gasoline as a fuel. Okay. Until you make like electrolysis hydrogen car engine, right?
Right.
So then, but then that's not an internal combustion engine.
No.
It doesn't work the same. So you could say something like, well, this motor or engine works on this other stuff. Fine. The exception is proving the rule. I don't know. That's probably a crappy example.
It does kind of distract me and take me out of where I was with it. But
sorry.
No, it's cool. But the rule is the God, the being, the principles. That is the rule. The exceptions are a violation or a divergence from those principles.
For instance, there can be no evil thing in heaven. That's a standard. That's a standard. And then Azazel gets punished and kicked out of heaven.
So where does that come from?
Okay.
Wait, where does that come from? There can be no evil thing in heaven.
The overall idea of heaven and lots of little side comments about heaven.
Okay, but like before we push past that point, I mean, this is an argument that I get a lot from a lot of atheists, that God is both good and evil if there's in the Bible, that like he does good things, but he also does these horrible evil things, and that means that God himself is capable of doing evil and being ever exists. So evil.
No, that's a childlike context. That's not what the text is saying about him.
So evil came into so. From what I'm getting from what you're saying, that evil came into existence when there was a divergence from the principles of God, the seven spirits, the seven.
When Satan lied to Lucifer and convinced him he could have better.
When Satan lied to Lucifer and said he could have better, Satan being the deceiver or the adversary,
the one that the original father calls ancient. He's older than the original father.
Wait. Hold on. So these principles themselves, the seven spirits, came into existence later than Satan, the adversary.
You won't find the idea of a monotheistic God in the case of the Bible, Yahweh, pre-existing man anywhere. That's just not what's being expressed, although Christians will claim it.
I don't know.
Yahweh starts being used after Adam is created. Adam is created by Elohim, a group of powerful beings.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that because the Bible claims monotheism.
Right, but monotheism only after Adam.
No.
It's all polytheism before Adam.
Yeah. After Adam, you're right, because it let us create, let us make them in our image and all that. Yes,
right.
So yeah, I'm sorry. The Bible claims it doesn't claim monotheism because it talks about other gods
until Adam. Right.
Yeah, right. Even after. Because
well, there's a difference between there being a God for humans, their monotheism, and other people believing that is not the case, which is what it's talking about. It doesn't say that these other conceptions of God are valid. It just says there's other conceptions of God.
Well, no, but then you went to a singular God again. You went these ideas of God or concepts might not be valid or whatever.
Sure.
But that's just saying that there's one God when there's more. There are more beings that are superior to humans that qualify as gods.
Some language experts will argue that there should be lowercase g's and uppercase g's in the word God in different parts of the text.
It's still a scale. There's still a scale of what we consider godlike on down to what's just your average, human being.
Well, me personally, from the perspective of the demonic or the type that Satan is, he is a genuine God, uppercase. He is their highest.
And what is his attribute?
I'm sorry?
His attributes? What are his attributes?
Practicality.
Oh, well, that seems like a good thing.
Benefit of his own kind in complete practicality without emotion.
Oh, yeah. The lack of emotion is the only thing that I would disagree.
That's the part that he can't handle about
stuff.
us, and the part we can't handle about him. Which is why the rebellion and the pulling out of the slaves. If he had like emotional empathy for the slaves, then Moses would have never caused a rebellion.
Well, yeah, he wanted to kill all the children of Israel and start over with Moses. So there's
Right.
and there's a lot of things that Christians are like, oh, that's not what he meant. No, that's what he meant. Yeah.
No, it's what he meant.
Yeah. Moses was like, no, this is going to look bad. I don't think
Moses was a super dependable slave, put in charge of all taxation and production for Pharaoh's world. And you don't think Pharaoh thought, I'm not saying this to you, and people don't think that Pharaoh thought that Moses was smart? Come on. Pharaoh thought Moses was smarter than Pharaoh.
Yes. And here's something else too. And I don't know if you're not going to. So when I look at this, I'm going to piss off a lot of people.
That's okay.
No, I might not be. I have a
it
lot
won't
of
matter by the time we're in heaven. It won't matter. The truth's coming out.
I'm going to hold on to that one. Actually, I'm going to hold on to that one. I'll find a way to say it where it won't be offensive. It's just about the beliefs that people hold. And okay, I'll say it. I don't think, and I know that you probably don't believe that any of the scripture was written with a divine hand, but from what the Bible claims, there is the 10 Commandments written with God's own hand. Everything else is written by man's hand, and I'm inclined to think that Moses, like all the civil laws, were things that Moses had picked up, and there was just the wise ways to deal with people, and to order.
Oh, well, I see your problem now. You don't think it's true.
I'm not willing to say that I know that it's true. I can't prove that it's true, but I think that it's possible that Moses said, okay, I got the 10 Commandments. Now let me, and maybe I have the authority here to kind of jerk these.
This is going to seem like I'm off topic, but I'm going to bring it back around, and there is necessary background why I'm asking what I'm asking. Is Da Vinci's representation of the Last Supper accurate to the Bible?
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's not, and I'll tell you why. How many disciples are there?
I don't know.
If you had to guess, the text does not say.
I'd say 12 because
that's apostles. How many disciples are there?
144,000 million. I don't know.
A bunch. Okay, now tell me how I would build from straw and sand and clay and wood a second floor in the ancient Near East that holds that number of people. The reason I ask it is because what the text actually reads. Jesus tells the apostles to go to the upper room and prepare a feast for the disciples. That's what the text says. Now, there's literally no way to make a second floor with that technology. Maybe today, I'm not sure that we could have a second floor that's all one room that holds 144,000 folks.
Hold on. I get what you're saying, but I don't think that it requires that every single disciple had to be in that room.
Doesn't matter. Let's say it's 1,000 folks.
How about it? Just the 3 that showed up, to go shopping with them to get the Passover lamb.
Apparently, it's a lot more than that.
How do you get that?
What are you saying about the 3 and Passover lamb?
Okay, so look at it like this. I'm having a barbecue, and I've invited a few of my friends that are bikers, okay, and they're Hell's Angels or whatever, and I'm like, hey, you two sons of mine, will you go with the Hell's Angels and get these things, and then y'all come back to the party? I'm not talking about the entire biker club. I'm just talking about the 3 Hell's Angels that showed up. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably a very strange group to use in my example, but it just came to mind.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely my objection is going to be when you look into the names of these characters, they're typologies. They're not people. Now, in the English, it comes out as some Hebrew word, and nobody bothers to look it up. They just go, "Oh, it's a Hebrew guy." Well, that's not the case. It's entire chunks of personality types.
All right. Well, give me one. Let's just do one together.
Shem.
Shem.
He's listed. Of the 3 sons of Noah, Shem. for instance.
No, I'm talking about the disciples that are mentioned that were going to be in the upper room.
Well, those are modern names that don't even make sense in the time frame or those people.
All right, so but that's the thing. That's the thing that we're talking about. If we go too far in another direction, I'm going to lose the thread. We're talking about where all the disciples were in the upper room.
Yeah, the disciples, not the apostles, right? There's no disciple mentioned by name that I know of ever.
Right. So why must we assume that the upper room had to accommodate every possible existing disciple?
Well, I don't know why you have 12 go and prepare a meal for 3.
Well, for themselves as well, and Jesus.
Okay, plus 3, I guess.
And 3 was just a random number. I'm just saying those that were in attendance with them.
It looks like the disciples is a really large protectionary force, that they follow the Lamb wherever he should go, that they give an exact count of 144,000. Let's take 1,000, give or take. Let's say, well, it's not 144,000.
There weren't enough to free him from the Romans or the Jews.
No. That's not. That is not true. He pokes and runs, pokes and stays. He doesn't want protected. He knows
he may not have wanted it, but it didn't stop Peter from attacking one of the Pharisees when they came to imprison him.
We're moving really fast. The word sword there means Bible. They had 2 Bibles.
He didn't cut anybody's ear off with a Bible.
Yes, you can.
They wouldn't have had a Bible. A Bible wasn't even a thing at the time.
Yes, it is. During end times, there's definitely Bibles.
Wait. Okay. No, we're talking about when Jesus was arrested. Okay?
During end times.
Maybe you should open the room and have some more people in, Richard.
Am I pissing you off? I mean, you're
not
okay?
pissing me off. It's just that you're wanting me to go ahead and assume things that just because we've talked about them that I don't necessarily.
No. I can prove it in the Bible that in an internal critique, you must accept that Jesus happens and does his testimony in the second half of end times, and you can't avoid it. And the only way to avoid it is to appeal to things not biblical and ignore parts of the text. And I'll show you that. If I say they told the truth about God, that they piss off secular and religious authorities, that they are killed, that they are dead approximately 3 days, and then they are raised from the dead, and then they tell the truth of God 40 more days and ascend into heaven. There's only one story in the Bible like that. It's the 2 witnesses. Oh, wait, it's Jesus. Oh, that's right. Jesus is the 2 witnesses.
Okay. Just so long as you understand that a minute ago when I was... All right. I wasn't looking at it from that perspective when I said that Peter didn't cut anyone's ear off with a Bible. Okay.
I know.
Because to me, that is a past event that has already happened.
I understand. But there'd be a really good reason for no physical evidence for an event if it is yet to happen. There shouldn't be any physical evidence for it.
Well, Richard, I have to admit, your brain is just too advanced for me. I don't know that I can keep up with you.
I do not believe that is true.
We don't believe a lot of the same things, but I'm trying to tell you.
I believe you need time to contemplate in prayer.
Okay, I'm going to assume though that it's probably that I lack the ability to keep up with you, and so maybe I'll have to let this jog around like you said until it settles. Sometimes that's the way I have to do it. Jesus. No, it's just Wild Heart. It's not Jesus.
Yeah, if I'm making too much noise, just feel free to mute me, okay? Because I'm behind the vehicle. I'm going to stop like in about 30 minutes. So feel free.
Love to hear you when we can hear you, YM.
Is he talking from inside the engine?
Yeah, he is actually in the engine compartment presently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to suggest something since you guys are diving in that deep so fast. It's only normal that people disagree with a lot of the statements. So the hardest thing for people to do is to get to agree on one main thing, on anything. That's the hardest part of the mastermind mentality, because this is what it is. This is a mastermind group over here. We're trying to discuss something altogether and then have an understanding and agree on something. And that's the hardest thing to do for any human. If you get people together, try to get everybody to agree on doing just one thing, it's almost impossible. But if you're successful and you have the right people together, that's how magic happens.
Okay, was everybody able to understand that, or does that need reiterated? Anyone not understand that? That's what I suspected. I could barely hear it myself.
I got what he was saying.
Yeah, if you can't hear me, like I said, I'm going to stop. I'm going to shut off my engine in about 30 minutes. So I'll just set it.
That'd be lovely, Wyatt. Love to hear you more easily then. So Wild Art, what I believe he said is William and I are accomplishing or trying to accomplish what is perhaps the most difficult thing is to get to some fundamental truth and agree upon it between two humans.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And
I
agree
that your
that's
hair is
extremely
spectacular,
difficult.
though.
Yes.
Spectacular. Oh, it just doesn't get sexier than that.
That freshly rolled look.
You make me want to drink.
No, but it's been a really good show. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for letting me on. Cheers.
I thought
Jamie
Raging
Russell,
Atheist
please
wanted
look
to
into
come
the
in.
words Horeb and Sinai. Please look into those words and see what mountain means, for instance. Because when you say that the rock is split and water was given at Horeb at Mount Sinai, that literally doesn't mean what you think it means.
Have you sat down with Jamie yet? Have you guys?
We've had some talks, but not nearly enough.
You guys got to put that on the books because both of you are super sharp. I understand Jamie's theology better than I do yours, though, because
he's probably a better speaker than I am, I think, but
he's just better with people.
I have to consider that could be true.
You're a little more of a robot.
It was painful. Boy, like you're the first woman to tell me I'm robotic. Shock. Yeah. Okay. So Wilder, what do you think so far? What have you been thinking while you were backstage, etc.?
Yeah. I think we've been over most of it before. I think Will was not struggling understanding the future part, that you don't think that any of these things have happened. Not struggling to understand. He knows that, but I have the same problem. There's I've been brought up with it being in the past. It's already happened, and it's difficult to switch between the two things. You know what I mean?
Of course, you're right that once something is drilled into your brain, it's the default setting.
Yeah.
Of course, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't accept that as a default any longer, even though I was raised that way, and then my culture kept reinforcing it.
Wait a second. Wait. It's not just that. It's the whole problem that we're talking about Jesus in the past tense, and they have for 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm. Ever since the story was given us, yeah.
Since it was given us, okay. So that's the thing. It wasn't like a little handout pamphlet at the time where people are here, read this. Here, read this.
It was several handout pamphlets.
Sure. But what I'm saying is, there was thousands of bits of Gnostic writings going around, for all of time. Why would this little story about the Jewish carpenter? Why would that make a shit?
I don't understand what you mean.
Why are we still talking about this story when it's not very spectacular?
Oh, that's an interesting question. And there's stories within the story that people have zeroed on. I think there's appeals to human emotion. There's appeals to the failure hero. There's appeals to the underdog. There's all these very memorable human stories within these religious stories, and that's why we keep them. But I think they're designed and written that way so that we keep them.
Of immortality. It's the promise of immortality.
That's another one.
Yeah, but that's not new in religion. I mean, that's pretty much one of the main things that people want answered by a religion is tell me I'm not going to, to disappear forever. What's up, Knock?
What up?
I think you are going to disappear forever unless you are chosen to be physically reincarnated in our next experience.
I have to say something real quick to Jamie Russell in the side chat. While I agree with you that I personally think that James was the actual brother of Jesus, I think that you're smart enough to know that that's a huge debate within the Christian community, and probably most Christians wouldn't recognize James as the actual brother of Jesus.
And here's the problem with that: how can you have a half brother with no actual brother?
The other problem you have, Richard, is that Jesus isn't here yet, so you can't have a brother of somebody who's not here yet.
Yeah, it's predictive, but you already know that there's parts of the story that are predictive. They're prophetic.
I'm just saying that you shouldn't weigh in on the conversation, since for you it hasn't even happened. There is no brother of Jesus. Jesus ain't.
Oh, it has happened. It just happened at the end of their earth. That's what they're writing about.
Oh,
yeah. According to Richard's, from what I understand of Richard's theology, is that it's probably happened thousands of times, just not on this planet yet, right?
Could have been thousands of times. There's at least 23 other occurrences of an earth, according to the story.
That's a pretty solid script, though. If you keep using it, it's a pretty solid script.
Well, yeah. I mean,
not you. I mean, from planet to planet.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's kind of vague, and why the Gospels wouldn't agree with each other, because there's human personality differences between the Christs. Why wouldn't do exactly the same thing in a similar situation? Who would?
Well, with the Satans, or whatever they are, the gods, the ancient gods, why are they allowed to continue to corrupt planet after planet? Are they just unstoppable?
No, I think that that there couldn't be suffering here. There couldn't be pain and disease, which builds brotherhood, sisterhood, empathy generally, without that disruption. So it's allowed for. And does God make a situation? Well, God demands a situation where that kind of quote unquote evil is propagated. Now, does he create the evil? No, he allows it for a time. So I think that's a Christian claim that you mentioned briefly earlier, which is just a poor reading of the text. You create a situation where evil can happen, that you quote unquote created the evil. It doesn't mean you made the thing which is evil.
Right. You created the situation that facilitated. Yeah. So, and that's where I stand personally on it. But I get that argument a lot, that God has to be evil if evil came from him, or something.
If I allow something that is evil in order to grow a person, say I'm a dad of a child, I let that child burn their hand on the stove after the 1,000th time I tried to stop them and say, look, they're just not going to learn from me. I'm going to have to let them learn on their own.
So
is that cruel of me? I don't know. Do I have an ice bag ready and some nice cold water and comforting words and a hug? Yeah, I got all that prepared.
Who slayed all these other tribes out in the middle of the damn desert? Who was doing that?
The word slay there means convince them through.
No. I'm saying slaughter, kill, down to the animal, the child.
This is happened. Why the Jews don't agree with you. See, the Jews and those guys were neighbors. They know they didn't kill them because the people are still there.
Okay, so none of that happened. That's all just
they never stopped trading. They were neighbors. The Jews know they didn't kill those folks.
Okay, so who are they talking about? What is being talked about in that part of the Old Testament then?
When times are really tough, i.e., end times, especially the second half, and people are really small, desperate, non-believing. All of them are non-believers. Communities. There is a small group of believers, the elect, that are sent out to testify, make war with those who don't believe, so that they'll accept heaven. And that's the entirety of the Old Testament, is that.
Well, I got a little convoluted over time, didn't it?
Well, translations are difficult, and there's presuppositions within religious dogma. So yeah, the stories come out weird. But if you go back and read the most original text, it's pretty dang clean. What?
Oh, so we could have skipped a lot of those texts then if they'd have just made it a little more concise, like what you just did.
I think it's pretty easy, actually. There's only about 20 stories.
Yeah, but you're
I
in
mean,
that
across
really
the whole
high
planet.
IQ. You're in that really high IQ
Don't
group.
accuse
Some
me
of
of
us,
things that I haven't proven you.
yeah, well, it's subjective then. But anyway,
It is
I
subjective.
have a hard time keeping up with your reasoning. That doesn't mean that I'm calling you wrong or anything. Maybe I'm just slow, but I'll
Well,
get
what I
there.
try to do is I try to hit the highlights because of time restrictions. And then if a person has more specific things, we'll hit each and every detail of each thing. But I think in all cases, I can show the logical progression and why this is necessary.
I have not found anything that you have said that is illogical from your uh, way of looking at the scriptures. And I'm not willing to say that you're wrong in any of those points. I just have to acclimate to thinking or reasoning in a way where I can kind of follow you, because I've got a lot of garbage to clean out if what you're saying is true.
I think we all have had a lot of garbage stuffed into our heads.
You know, it's been my experience that Christians and atheists alike have a hard time understanding Richard because his theology is quote unquote so different, and yet he is able to utilize actual scripture to back it up. And I think that throws a loop to Christians, especially because they're not used to that narrative being pulled straight and directly from their Bible. And it's even led to like issues between me and Richard. You know, like I will go at Richard a lot of times, like I would go at a normal Christian, and you just can't do that because honestly, Richard's is more rational, it's more logical, and you can't come at it as an atheist in the same way that you would a traditional Christian.
Yeah, ask Eric Murphy about trying that. Didn't work for him either. Okay, so where were we? Anybody?
Basically, I just had a suggestion. Maybe you would consider it to have this debate in a more regulated fashion, where you're concentrating on one particular subject, and then just everybody, gives a brief statement of what they think about it. That way, we kind of can be more focused on one topic at a time. Because right now, we're all over the place.
Was that a suggestion of like a round robin around the room on each idea? Is that what that was? I only caught parts of it.
Let's say you want somebody just says, "Hey, I have a question about this. What do you think about that?" And then we go around the room and we all make a comment on what you guys think. And we do that one thing at a time. Just break it down more organized. That way, if people do disagree or agree, at least we can come to an agreement or a disagreement.
Yeah, a recommendation on where we would start. I mean, that sounds like a great idea, but where do you start? Okay, so let's say, I guess, start at the beginning. Here's an assertion for everyone. What the text reads without interpretation is that powerful beings reformed the planet and the sky. And that's not the same thing as making something out of nothing.
So, and where are you getting this information from that the powerful beings reformed the sky and the planet, not God?
Okay, on the point, powerful beings versus God, the word is Elohim, not Yahweh. And the reason that it's Elohim is because it's a set of powerful beings. That's literally what it reads. That can be loosely translated into God, but if you're going to be like true to form, it had to be gods. So the King James translation where it reads God made, that's not accurate to the original ideas.
I agree with the Elohim statement that it was God. That's why God didn't just create man; He also created a woman. That means that God saw other things besides man, and so He created a woman as well. So in my understanding, I think there were other beings. That's why God didn't just create one man.
Okay, well, it still requires co-creators. So I guess these other beings that he made are co-creators. You still have a polytheistic God there. So I don't know how to get around that.
You would have to change the word, basically. Change the God word to a plural.
It is plural. For instance, in the Hebrew language, there's the word Eloach, which means a singular powerful being. But the word we see is not Eloach, it's Elohim, the plural form, plural, powerful beings. That's the word there.
I agree with that one. If anybody wants to say something else, it's been gentle.
Jamie Russell, it does not mean divine being. It means powerful beings. Please go look it up.
Do you have room in here for Pixie and Jamie?
Or anyone else.
Okay, I didn't know how many slots you had. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's right. I'm reduced back to 6. So midnight is the last one until Peace and Respect. Midnight.
Oh, Sparkle.
Hello, how are we doing?
Doing okay. How is you?
I'm doing all right. I saw this little stream happening, and I was like, you know what? Let me go on. Let me see what you're talking about. I always like talking to William and listening to what he says.
And I always feel blessed whenever you're around. It's such a gift to us mere mortals.
Yeah.
I always feel dirty when I talk to William. Like I have to go take a shower.
You're
Wait,
very
hold
mean
on.
to me.
Which
Knock.
William?
Very.
Will Kincaid or this William? Because there's two Williams when you think about it.
Like, does Will Kincaid even exist anymore?
Richard, do we have a moment that
Not
I can
heard of his
address
death.
Knock on this?
Yeah, you guys, as you two agree, do what you need to do.
Yeah, Knock, I just have to make sure. Do we have any issues that we need to work out so that we can be friends?
Well, I see. Until you quit your militia, we could never be friends. But I enjoy talking to you.
That's unfortunate.
And I will give up my place for Pixar, or if anyone else wants to come in, just let me know.
Very kind of you.
Yeah, William, I enjoy talking to you. I think that you're honest. That you don't run away from your positions. I don't really have too many issues with you. I kind of pick on you a lot.
But you just said you just said you feel dirty every time you talk to him. So
Well,
it's
yeah.
I
like-
don't mind that. It's the
Yeah.
thing about me being in a militia. I don't understand why that would make you not want to be my friend.
Well, because I consider militias to be domestic terrorists. You know, extreme right-wing anti-government militias to me are domestic terrorists.
You added a lot to a militia there to make that point.
Yeah, but like I don't think you run away from that though.
No, but I don't. You're calling us domestic terrorists. You don't know us, and anything that you would know about us, you wouldn't find any terrorism or harming anyone. We don't harm people.
Well, until they come to your house, right?
Oh, absolutely, that's with anyone though. Anyone that tries to break into my house, I'm going to defend my house.
Well, not break in. Well, we've had this conversation. I'm not trying to overtake.
Well, no, I just want you to justify why you dislike me, whether it's just because of this rhetoric that you've developed about me, or whether there's something genuinely that you think that I've done that was harmful to people.
Well, I think your spinning of militias as not domestic terrorist groups is harmful.
Well,
especially.
Is it possible that you're the one spinning?
No, I don't think so. I think I go by what you've told me.
Well, anything that I've told you hasn't implied that we do any harm.
Sure, it has.
Okay, can you be specific?
Well, I mean, for one, you've talked about when the orders come down. So if there is an order that comes down, right now we're facing Christian nationalism, extreme right wing.
We're talking about me. We're talking about me.
Well, we're talking about these militia groups that you associate with.
You said some things that you know aren't true. Just then you said that I said that orders come down when you asked me specifically if I would refuse to do certain things, and I told you, yeah, absolutely. You even what was the Dr. Doom looking fellow? What was Death End? He even asked me, so you don't answer to anybody. You choose what you do and what you don't do. And I said, yes, exactly right. And he goes, well, then you're rebels because you don't have a chain of command.
Dr. Doom looking fellow. That's funny.
Quick pause. Would anyone drop out to allow Jamie Russell in?
Yes, I can do that. Cheers,
Thank
Richard.
you, sir.
Cheers.
Peace and respect. Thank you.
Later, Wild Hearts hairdo.
Hey, I'm staying.
But you get that we can be friends if you will work through this and understand that you're painting me wrong.
I think that we can be cordial, but again,
You were a member of Antifa, or you were a part of that. That's a militia.
I was a member of Antifa a long time ago.
Right,
I don't associate myself with modern Antifa, although I will defend them if I feel like they need to be defended.
But they're a militia.
No, they're not.
Okay, how do you differentiate between Antifa and a militia?
Antifa is a philosophy. It's anti-fascism. If you're talking about the modern group, I think that there's huge differences between them and these so-called anti-government militias. Antifa stands against fascism. So, if you go anywhere and there's a KKK rally going, you're gonna sometimes, but usually not.
And
you're gonna find Antifa with Confederates, with fascists, with KKKs of the world, but also in the modern times, in the world in the country that we're living in right now, where Christian nationalism is on the rise, where your president Donald Trump is literally
not in office.
Donald Trump is not president.
Okay, guys, a little bit of administration. First of all, I love you all equally. Second, Jamie, please see your way out of that conversation until invited. And guys, a little bit bigger pauses between ideas. I don't want this polite, slight over talking to become escalated and get out of control between the two of you, please.
Well, yeah. So to finish my point, in this modern world, and when I say your president, I'm referring to the fact that Donald Trump's going to be running again, and that Donald Trump claims that he is still president, should still be president, and most of his supporters do as well. But in this modern world of the rise of Christian nationalism, the rise of the Trump movement, the insurrection of January 6th, the violence that is being suggested by all of these militia groups across the fucking board right now, I think that it goes to reason that I should stand against anybody that associates with them.
Okay, so I don't want to say you're bigoted towards me, but you don't really understand the things that you're talking about that I'm involved in. I have a firsthand knowledge of what I'm about, and so by implication, I'm a liar. And no, I get it, but understand that I have tried multiple times to open a possibility for you and I to get along.
Well, I think we do get along. Getting along doesn't so if I say that we can't be friendly doesn't imply that we don't get along. I get along with Matt Powell sometimes, but we're not friendly. I think I get along with you far better than I ever would with a Matt Powell type.
Right, but most of my friends, I don't impugn their character, at every possible chance, especially when it's unwarranted.
Well, again, I've quite plainly said that I don't consider us friends, but I don't think that I impugn your character. I think I repeat the things that you've told me that you try to kind of weasel your way out of.
And why would I try to weasel my way out of something, and then you still turn around and say that I don't run and that I stand and say what I think? So, I mean, which is it?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you can do both.
No, you can't. Weaseling your way out of something is the opposite of standing your ground.
Well, I mean, you stand firm in your position that you're in a militia, but you've changed what this militia is about 1,000 different times.
No, you tried to make it fit into 1,000 different boxes, and none of them worked because they were part of a narrative that doesn't really apply to reality.
Well, none of them work because you don't really expand on it. So whenever me and Dr. Doom tried to really go in depth, you don't expand on it. So it went from this movement that's thousands of groups strong to, hey, we're like 10 people that get together. It went from orders coming down. It went from bodyguard work that you do for this group to there's 10 of us, so it's hard to really put a label on exactly where you are.
Security is not a bodyguard. And which question that you asked did I not answer honestly or at all?
I don't know, man. I have to go back and watch.
Yeah, but I've gone back and I've watched them. I didn't avoid any of your questions.
I think you have, but I mean that's a matter of opinion, right?
Well, I mean, if you'll compile them, I'm happy to participate. But I really think
that sounds like a temporary stalemate, that you guys are at a slight impasse.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't want this conversation.
Questions of the other so you can move on with it.
Well, no, yeah, I don't want this conversation. William, I'll have you back on my channel and we can hash through our personal differences. If you're asking, like, I try to be honest with you. Like, I don't consider you like a dangerous threat or anything, but like, yeah, I mean, as long as you associate with a group like that, we could never be like quote unquote friends. Yeah, that's just
understand that's your choice.
Sure, it's my choice. It's my choice not to be friends with Matt Powell as well, even though he wants to go on dates.
He's not a bad looking guy.
Okay, can I add something in here or no?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. Yeah, I don't want to like.
Well, no, I was just asking because Richard,
I don't want my poking at William to overcome the stream.
Yeah, I know. I'm just asking because Richard slighted, but not slighted. Richard said to Jamie to not butt in, so that's why I was asking if I can say something really quick. I was being polite. Hello?
Oh, yeah, go for it. But real quick before you do, I want to address flow state because this notion of me being bigoted towards right-wing anti-government militia groups, I find hilarious. But I'm not surprised considering flow state's a deeply right-wing libertarian type fuckwad to begin with. So
I like flow state a lot. I think he's really cool. Anyway, yeah, Sparkle, go ahead, man. You're not interrupting us anymore. We're done.
Okay. First of all, Rage, Rage, you said it's a matter of opinion whether William answered your questions or not. Well, no, it is objective. All you have to do is go watch the stream and pay close attention as to whether.
Have you watched them?
No. I didn't
all right. So when I say whether if it's subjective or whatever, me and Dehan clearly feel like William didn't answer our questions and kind of answered a lot of the questions in different various ways. But William thinks that he answered them all plainly. So that would be a subjective opinion, right?
Subjective opinion, but you can go back and watch the video to see whether someone did. Like you feeling that, I feel like William didn't answer it, then okay, like I'm not trying to devalue, to invalidate what you feel. Like I'm just saying.
Well, it's not based on feelings, it's based on the experience. I was in the stream, right? Like I don't need to go back and watch it to have a recollection of the stream I was a part of, right?
Hey, maybe that would help, though. Hey, I was just thinking we don't need to take up Richard's show doing this, but if you want to, I would love to sit down again with you. And you know how you go through other people's streams? Let's go through your stream with me on was it July 4th? The lack of
sure, we could do that. There's been a couple of them. I'd have to go through them and find the time.
No, the one with Dead Hand. Yeah, I'll help you if you want to find it because I would love to sit down. That way I can show you that I did answer your questions.
Cool. Yeah, we can do that.
All right, cool. And then
Richard,
go ahead.
I somewhat rudely asked Jamie to wait till you guys were done, but of course it looks like you're done. So Jamie, I want to give you your floor.
On which matter?
Whatever it is you wanted to comment on.
Oh, I just think I think if I was going to be critical of some of your views, I would say I think they're interesting and worth discussing for insights to what could be going on.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking about the conversation between William and
yeah. Oh,
yeah, don't run away, Jamie. You want to talk shit about me? Go ahead. I'm here.
Forget now. I would say, Antifa. I was just gonna say, they do like the fighting fascism, like spraying old ladies with mace for wearing a red hat that doesn't even say "Make America Great Again," stuff like that. Boom, mic drop. Antifa. Yeah, is that? Oh yeah, last thing. Man, I had a zinger, but now it's kind of left me. But like,
pick the mic back up. You dropped it. You got to pick it back.
Yeah, right. Sorry, hold on, let me bend over. Okay, so do you? Is it like Fight Club where like you? I'm not an Antifa. First rule of Antifa is that it doesn't exist. So I want to pressure you.
No, wait, hold on. First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. It says nothing about the.
My bad.
Yeah, it's kind of different from
Tyler
existing.
Durden down there.
But I think I've made it fairly plain in my streams every time I've talked about it. And especially in the streams with William, I think I made it fairly plain that, while I've never really considered myself an active member of Antifa, I did used to work with them quite a lot when it comes to especially, bringing down historical statues of fascists. But I've clearly stated that some of the tactics of modern Antifa I do not agree with. I don't know the truth about like throwing shit at old ladies or not, but I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, do you think? I thought CJ straightened you out on the statue thing. Like, I get it. I just think at a certain point, like, it'll never stop.
What?
Like, we got to take down George Washington's statue.
I totally won that debate with CJ. What are you talking about?
That's fine. I get it. I just think it is a slippery slope in real life.
If anything, I should have been the one that set CJ straight, but he still doesn't seem to get that, like we shouldn't be celebrating fascists.
I was messing with you, but do you want every, like, because like history happens and like develops. So like, do you want to take down, you have to take down everything.
Well, I want to take down these statues from public spaces. I don't want to erase the history. That's something that we went through in that debate with CJ. And I've made that very clear. I'm all for like a federal museum, a national museum that would relate the true history of it, relate the true atrocities committed against slaves, relate the true atrocities, the true words, the things that General Lee actually did to his slaves and started instead of trying to paint him as like the greatest slave owner in the history of America. I would rather we talk the truth about what happened instead of idolizing and immortalizing fascists.
So do you believe in fighting fascists?
Yes, I believe in Antifa's original cause. Back in the day when they were in Italy and they were skinning fascists alive. I'm totally down for that.
I agree that we should fight fascists too. That's why I like to fight Antifa.
So how is Antifa fascist?
Well,
because they try to silence any other opinion than their own. Completely silence,
how
even
so?
Using force. Just like they protest and try to prevent people, and I say protest, they riot and keep speakers from speaking at colleges and stuff like that.
Fascist speakers?
Well, you can call anyone a fascist. I just did that with.
Well, I think Richard Spencer's a fascist. Wouldn't you agree? And that's mainly that's the most popular one that people talk about.
Do you think Ben Shapiro is a fascist?
Fuck yeah, I do. Christian.
Hey, I have an anecdote.
A little Jewish fascist boy.
Hell yeah, without a doubt. He definitely is a fascist.
You don't understand what fascism is.
Yeah,
I work next to Chaz, so I know you can't. I've lived experience here.
This world, the word fascist gets thrown around so much. I feel like it's lost its fucking meaning.
You can always look it up and try to find out who's actually fascist.
But I have a question.
You don't think the Confederacy was fascist?
The Confederacy? You okay, the Confederacy was fascist.
Like the slave trade, you don't consider that as a fascist act?
Do I think that slaves it's oppressing, it's more racist than it is anything else.
Okay.
Fascist is using force to silence opposition.
Slavery had nothing to do with race. It's the people in Africa that didn't have no money to trade with, so they traded people in, and the people who bought them, they brought them to a different land where they just recuperated their money at the market.
That's fair. It's not racist. You're
Can
right.
you guys hear him? Because like he's gonna have to spring for a new mic.
No, I think he's in a vehicle, but yeah, he's right. Yeah, I was wrong. It's not racist because he's absolutely correct. It was it wasn't just blacks, and it was just they were a product, and that's the way they viewed other human beings, and so that's what's wrong. What fascist as far as trying to silence your opposition using force, like there's no reason to even call something a democracy if there's a fascist element.
Sorry, I was talking to my child. I only caught the end of that. So like if I don't consider America when slavery existed within America to be a democracy. When they were considered
we're not a democracy now.
We're a republic, but like I don't see any democracy in subjugating and enslaving human beings and committing atrocity against my peoples and Native Americans.
You're not.
Yeah, I think we are. Say what?
You're not Native American.
My heritage is.
Yeah, well, Native Americans are not normally willing to give up their weapons to the white man after learning what they learned.
So because I'm anti-gun, you take away my heritage. This is why we could never be
Clearly,
friends.
you don't represent them.
Okay, Rage, I have a quick question for you. You said you want to remove statues.
Bring your hate, Midnight, you right-wing bastard.
The
Okay,
ultimate
you know what?
whitey.
Fuck off, because I am not a right-wing bastard.
I'm trying to make him one. He just won't cooperate.
But anyways, as I was gonna ask you, like, why do you want to remove statues from public places?
Because we shouldn't be immortalizing slave owners.
But you just said you're fine. You're fine with putting them in a museum, so that's still immortalizing.
No,
no
that's
sense.
that is recognizing them historically.
Okay, quick point of management. YM, we can't hear you anyway. Randolph Richardson's trying to come in. YM, please come back in when you reach your destination and we're able to easily hear you. For now, thank you for your very difficult participation.
I can
but
also.
For now, YM, would you please excuse yourself so Randolph Richardson can come in?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and also thank you, Richard, for having me on, and I'd like to do it again. Maybe I'll prep for a topic next time so that we can have a much more in-depth discussion.
Damn,
but
you got to go to work, William?
No, not tonight, huh?
Well, then why are you leaving?
Because I
he
have
said he'd give us an hour
and a family.
he gave us an hour and almost a half. That's pretty good, I think.
Yep.
Hold on. I've got a few more minutes. Was there something specifically that you wanted to address with me?
No, you're cool. You can leave.
Okay, because I don't want you to say that I'm weaseling out of anything. I'm right here if you got a question.
Well, I mean, look, you using that raccoon gif already means you're weaseling out, okay? Because raccoons are little weasels.
Raccoons and weasels. No, no.
Fair enough.
All right, but seriously, Knock, you one question, whatever it is, go ahead.
No, I don't have no questions for you.
All right. Thanks, Richard.
Welcome, Randolph Richardson. We've all paused so you
William
can speak,
rocks.
Randolph. Randolph, we're getting no audio from you.
And Richard, if I can just say, Halsey, if you read Halsey,
His mic is frozen. Sorry, bro.
Oh yeah, I put a message in the private chat that I needed a couple minutes.
Now I hear you.
Yeah. You got to check your private chat. How are you doing?
It's just too much. I'm not that bright. Peace and respect to you, Randolph. Welcome. And I am doing now expectedly well. I'm getting used to the idea over the course of the last decade. How are you?
Good. I've got suddenly a bunch of people showed up here, but that's okay. I'll just turn off the screen from time to time for that. So it's great to see you finally get on the stream with you.
Yeah, you as well. And the structure you're presently in, is that the one I've been watching you build?
No, this is inside what has been building. It's sort of looking like this now.
Does that place have an inside as well?
Yeah, we'll get to that. So this is what the outside looks like.
But you said, but you're inside right now, like that would be
No,
different.
I'm outside. I just walked out the door. Where I was before was inside. Okay. So this is outside. And doorway here. So I'll just turn on the lights. There we go.
That's actually a pretty large space, isn't it?
It is. I can fit 2 Suburbans bumper to bumper in here and still have room to open the doors. So it's decent. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it goes quite a ways. So we got lots of space here. I've just in the process.
And would you show the purpose of that new room, please?
The idea is going to be an office for me, as well as being the future studio of the True North Talk call-in program. So some things came up. We have to sell the place, so we're probably not going to finish the studio until I move to the new place. So it's unfortunate, the timing. It's just the way everything goes, right? So, but that's okay. I'm still, I've got this almost to a finished state where all I need to do is insulate and put up walls, and we're ready to go. So it's a little disappointing on the timing on that one. But speaking of community stuff, on August 27th, for anybody who's in this area, British Columbia, Canada, Greater Vancouver area, we're holding a in-person get-together community event in a park, and we'll be having a nice kind of picnic-like thing at 1 p.m. just after lunch, and then go for a stroll through the park, just kind of building community. And we're planning to do this the last Saturday of every month. We wanted to do this when the pandemic started, and we had to put everything on hold. So it's been a couple of years in the making. So, and it's free. People can just come and show up. That's.
I'm not going to make it.
I know you're not.
Which part of British Columbia?
Greater Vancouver area. It's in Burnaby Central Park.
Hey, Richard.
Yes. Yes, midnight. Go ahead.
Sorry. I mean Randolph. My bad. Hey, Randolf.
Yes.
Hey,
How
Randolph.
are you?
How's my favorite albino, not albino, doing?
You keep accusing me of being albino.
I know. I said albino, not albino. Okay.
Yeah, there's a slash in there. So
Yes.
yeah, no, I'm doing pretty good. So yeah.
I'm sorry. Just look at him. Okay. Just look at him. Okay. He's fucking albino. Okay. I don't give a shit what his doctor says. He's albino.
No, he's got white hair. That's all. That doesn't make you albino.
I see a little red in his complexion. I don't see albino.
Yeah.
That's the Scottish heritage, I think.
I don't know. I just like giving him shit for it because it's just.
All right, so I'd like to address Midnight's absurdity. So there's a huge difference between like putting these statues in a national museum and having them on public squares. Let's say somebody enslaved your ancestors, Midnight. Would you want to go on a public square and see those very same people immortalized? With a bust.
Hold on, I want to answer you. Was I the one enslaved, or were my ancestors?
Your ancestors.
Okay, well, it's tragic what happened, but just because I see a statue, just because I see a statue of somebody who did that to my ancestors, like it's.
So you're telling me
I don't want to come off. I don't want to come off as like.
So, well, you're telling me that you can't empathize with, let's say, a black person in America.
That's.
Well, are you going to let me finish my statement? I'm making a statement here.
No, I will not let you say that about me. Okay, just because.
Well, you seem to think it's a ridiculous notion to remove these statues from public squares, and I think that's fucking ridiculous.
Hey, Rage. Okay, you. Wow, I hate stuttering.
So my statement was going to be, can you not empathize with a black person going into a public square, seeing a statue of General Lee and wanting that statue taken down?
Yes, I can empathize with them.
So what's the issue?
All I do is empathize with people, you asshole.
Well, then what's the issue, and why are you standing against my position that these statues should be taken down then? If you can actually empathize.
Oh, if I can actually empathize. Okay, you don't know
Sure.
what the fuck empathy is at all.
Then explain it to me, because I'm the one. I think you're not the one understanding here.
Rage, at the end of the day.
Explain it to me, dude. If you just made a claim that I don't understand what empathy is, so explain it. Or shut up. One of the two.
Oh, really? You would like me to shut up, right? Good little.
I think you probably should, because I don't think you're doing yourself any justice here.
Right, if I could attempt to be a peacemaker.
There is no peacekeeping. There is no peacemaking here.
I see you, Flow State. Just the room is full if you're willing to hang out for a minute.
Oh, no, Richard. We can switch over to my channel if you want. I can set a stream. You'll be able to get 10 people in. It'll still be your stream, but
no, he's already here, dude. It's like
It would be absolutely fine with me, despite Sparkle's objection. Sparkle might actually change their mind and join one of your streams so that more people can come in and have conversation. I think we have exhausted for today the topic that I specialize in. That's religious stories. So if you guys want to move on,
I mean, that's fair.
That would be acceptable to me personally. Wildheart, if you would start a stream and then come back and bring the link.
I shall do that. But also, Halcyonic, I know, Richard, you don't use Google Meet, but she had a brilliant suggestion in the side chat. It was a bit ago. Basically, you can start a Google Meet. You can have as many people as you want. You just stream that to StreamYards. If you just go to Halcyonic's comment. And then,
I understand there are humans who know how to do those things and understand technology at that level. I am not 15. I don't get it. It just confuses me, the whole idea. I'm a little bit older than that.
Richard, we can totally go back to like a religious conversation.
No, I want to encourage that people have conversation, and I want brotherhood and empathy to happen. I really do. It's just that's not really what I do, but I want to encourage it.
Hey, I have a question from the live stream you did earlier this morning.
Sir.
Is Goliath and Gilgamesh the same entity?
No, Goliath and Gilgamesh are not actual sentient beings at all. And then the second half of that, is it the same story telling the same thing? No. Gilgamesh is a much broader story that is only highlights, whereas David and Goliath is like really specific, a small part of that. Excuse me, big story. And I can show you why I say that. But
so if they're not actual entities, or what are they? Are they metaphors?
They're ideas, experiences that we'll have, things we'll see. For instance, the slaughtering of the bull of heaven by Gilgamesh and Enkidu. It's not a physical bull in the sky, of course, right? But it's the idea that the hero slays the bull. That is to say, the same story as Orion, for instance. Or that Jesus is born into the tribe of Reuben. He slays the bull. Or a bullock is sacrificed at his birth, is another way that it's said in one of the stories.
It's not zodiac symbolism?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But it's talking about when the hero was born.
Thank you. That was my question mostly.
Well, constellation, it's not part of the zodiac except for the bull is in the zodiac. But yes, I think that's the correct idea. For a full breakdown conversation between Robbie of Math Pig channel and myself on the Epic of Gilgamesh, we did the whole thing a couple years or about a year ago, whatever it was, and we go over it line by line. If you would give him a view on those things.
What's that called? Are you going to drop the link or something? How do I find that?
All of them are called The History of. Every ancient story that he and I have reviewed is called The History of.
Okay.
And then it would just read Gilgamesh. So you could just go to his channel and type in Gilgamesh, and it would bring it up.
Whose is that?
Math Pig.
Oh, Math Pig. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope people will give him views on that.
Yeah, the link is ready for whenever you're ready.
I do not see it in the public chat. Are you not a moderator?
I am not a moderator. No, I put it in the private chat. I put the stream.
Okay, well, this time I'll transfer it, but next time I'm going to have to make you a moderator. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, are we going to Wild Heart's room, but it's going to stay on this channel?
No,
he doesn't have those kinds of abilities. I haven't given him those. Which one? You posted two.
No,
one YouTube and one StreamYard.
Yeah.
sorry.
Only when you're ready to. If you're not ready to finish, it's fine. It's just.
You know, that's just evidence that I really don't know much about this technology. I'm not kidding you at all.
So,
No.
Rage, to answer your question, no, it's going over to Wildheart's channel, and he'll be continuing the conversation there. Right, Wildheart?
Yeah. But continue the Richard. Continue the chat. I was just letting you know that I've set it up. But continue the chat.
Well, I want to force people to go ahead and go to your channel and to continue this conversation. That's what I'd like to do, and I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. And anyone who thinks that's just a horrible idea, I personally apologize that I think it's a good idea.
No, yeah, and you know this conversation might be better over on Wild Hearts. So because then I'll feel free to like expound upon my beliefs without breaking you down, Richard. But I do before you shut the stream down.
15 minutes.
Before you shut the stream down, Richard, I do want to say it's been way too long since we've had a one-on-one, so we need to set up.
I love you, man.
Yeah,
I'd love to do that anytime that you're available. I'm taking Tuesdays, Wednesdays off. If you have a Tuesday or a Wednesday time slot, pencil me in and just email me and say show up this time.
I'll shoot you an email and we'll set something up for sure.
I've got you beat, Rage. It's a longer time for me and Richard. We've never had a one-on-one yet.
I want to though, Randolph.
You have to, Randolph. They're great times and great conversations with Richard always.
Yeah, it is. Take care. We'll see you in about 15 or 20 minutes on yours, Wildheart. Everybody should head over to Wildheart's channel soon.
Okay, everybody go over there. Get out of here. I don't kick people, but kick yourself.
All right. Yep. Thanks for having me on. Kind of sorry, I was just poking at William. I really didn't intend to take over your stream, Richard. So.
It's okay. I want to make time for us to be brothers.
Yeah. And
sometimes brothers fight. That's okay. As long as they're being fairly civil about it, I got no issue with that.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, I do apologize, and I'll see you guys over at Wild Hearts.
Okay, guys, that's the end of this show. Till next time, I want you all to know that I truly do look forward to the day that we're all great friends. Till next time, we'll see you around. Thanks for dropping by, everybody. Oh, and Crypta just came in. I have to bring you in for at least a second. Peace and respect, Crypta.
Which one is this? I'm in the wrong one. I'm in the wrong chat. Yes,
that's okay.
Well, wonderful stream, and I will see you in another one. Go blonde.
Peace. Like I've never done that. Okay. All right, guys. Till next time.